In the last 10 years, close to 1 trillion shillings has been spent on revamping infrastructure at the coast region. The Mombasa Port Road Development project is part of this ecosystem. This week, our conversation on Inside Government revolves around infrastructural development in Mombasa, and we are talking to the chairperson of Kenya National Highways Authority, Engineer Wangai. Thank you very much indeed for finding time to be with us here. There's a lot of development when you walk or when you drive around the coast, but I want you to start off by explaining to us what exactly is happening to where we are and where exactly we are right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kimani, and really it's my great pleasure to give insight to the work that is happening around here. And we are on the project that we call the Mombasa Port Area Development Project. And it's part of 3 road contracts that connect the area here around Mwache to the south coast. It is in 3 contracts, Package 1, Package 2, and Package 3. Package 1 is what is popularly known as the Dongo Kudu bypass, started in the year 2015 and completed in the year 2018. Now we are standing, and the work you see behind me is part of the Lot 2, and again we have Lot 3 further on, and therefore this area connects the Mwache to the south coast area. And the Mombasa Port Area Development is part of a wider, the roads here we are seeing is part of a wider work to make Mombasa as a municipal area, as an urban area, as a thrust for economic growth to do even better. It includes, the baths have been called by KPA. It includes the special economic zone. It includes the water from Mwache Dam, and also includes supply or strengthening the supply grid by electricity.
This is one of the 3 bridges that are expected to be constructed that are expected to connect the north coast to the south coast. This is Mwache Bridge. Give us a brief about this bridge.
This particular Lot 2 has 9-kilometer section, and out of the 9 kilometers, approximately 18 meters or 18 kilometers are over the sea. So we have 3 sections, what we call the Mwache Bridge, where we are now. We go further on, we have the Tunza Bridge. The Mwache Bridge is 660 meters span. We go to the next section, the Tunza Bridge, which is 1.4 kilometers in span. And then we have the other one where we have the tide. And therefore, we also putting that on fire. Now, in total, we are sinking down to the bedrock of the sea, and about 780 piles, the concrete piles, like what you see behind us, is going in some instances up to 40 meters to touch the hard bedrock, where now we can secure this road. The road that we are constructing has 4 lanes, that means 2 on either side, and that then will make it very easy. It's providing access other than congesting the Mombasa Island. Then we are asking ourselves, how else do we make it easy for people to really get on from the south coast and outward to the mainland?
When you look at the coastal region, there are about 180 billion shillings worth of projects, either completed or ongoing, that are being undertaken by KENHA. How critical is this segment, or what you're calling Lot 1, 2, and 3?
We have to see the ongoing works as part of a wider connectivity solution. And this is part of the coastal belt, which connects our roads from border to border, the border with Tanzania at Lunga Lunga, and all the way past Malindi, Lamu, to our border with Somalia at Kiunga. And actually right now, we are almost completing that belt. We have one project that is starting off funded by AFDB from Lunga Lunga to Kilifi and Malindi, and then from the road from Malindi to Lamu, the road is already existing, and the GOK funding is then supporting the rest section to Kiunga. So in total, we have an investment portfolio of about 100 billion shillings in about 13 projects that are currently ongoing or just about to start in the coastal region. So how important then is this link? It means that along the coastal belt, we are able to evacuate goods out of the coast and also bring them, because until now, we've had the ferry was our only option. But I mean, the ferry can just carry so much. Together with this also, we'll be seeing, there's another route that has also been completed, what we call the Samburu Kinango. It is, you divert at Voi. It is being done by our sister agency, KERA, and that means that we are giving many alternatives for people to actually connect from the coastal belt and out into the mainland. Very soon, next year or so, we will be starting another investment of about 180 billion shillings, what we call the Mombasa Gate Bridge. You know, over the many years, we have wondered how do we make vehicular traffic accessible across the Likoni area. So right now, yes, we have the pedestrian footbridge, but what about the vehicular area? We need to, so we are doing a bridge that has a clearance of about 70 meters so that the vessels can dock to the Kilindini port comfortably, and at the same time also allow free passage. So we see this as part of that connectivity solution between the coastal belt to the mainland.
This particular project here, how is it likely to help, transporters as well as the local people here who have been using long distances, going all the way to the coast to connect to the hinterland?
The benefits are multiple. Let's start with the immediate sense. We have about 900 people employed on this project. And out of these 900 people, 46 of them are very well trained engineers. So, and we are training another 11 people here. So in the immediate sense, we see that for the next 4 years, we are guaranteeing employment to this number of people. I mean, that helps many households. The second thing that also happening is that we are also employing contractors in this project under subcontract. So there's a healthy exchange of the technology. It's not every day that you actually do a road across the sea. So we see that, and therefore these people in return also sink this money back to the economy. But then let's look beyond the construction period. The first thing is that, look, Mombasa area has been very congested because all the traffic going in into the island had only 3 entries. The Makupa Bridge, the Mtwapa Bridge, and then also now the ferry. So first and foremost that we are decongesting Mombasa. Any urban center will thrive so long as there is free and efficient movement of goods and people. So that's the first thing, that Mombasa as an economic hub will grow. The second thing is that then the cost people have been having, the time people spend. So this then provides alternative ways for people to do business, to move in and out, not to wait. They can schedule things not by the ferry schedule, but by their own schedule. Yes. And of course, also to say is that we are also opening up a belt, and we have seen that coming already. The very fact that we have the special economic zone coming at the, in the next lot, I think lot 3. What does that mean for us? Is that then we are creating employment. We are creating a separate growth corridor because roads are enablers. So we are enabling the growth, but then what are we doing? We urge people is that then they have to take advantage, a full advantage. The road without corresponding economic activity then may not bring the benefit, but the opportunity, the enabling environment is created.
You're right. I mean, it is not every day in this country that we see roads and bridges being constructed over a body of water. This is one of those unique projects. How technical is this project, or how hard is it to put up that kind of an infrastructure? And what kind of a milestone is this?
Very significant. And I think I'll just go back to say that this project has been discussed since the 1970s. The initial designs were done in 1988. So you can imagine we're actualizing that almost 30 plus years after. So that's just how important this project is. It's something that has been in our books, in our minds for the last 40 years. And now, in fact, almost 50. 1972 to date, it's, it's 50 years. So that's how significant. We have really grappled with this problem. Just how do we safely and efficiently connect? Secondly, to drive a pile 40 meters below the sea, and not one, not two, but 700 of them, to varying from 10 to about 40 meters. It is technically challenging. In fact, this for me is a celebration of our engineering capabilities. Because beyond the fact that, supported by JICA, we have a lead Japanese contractor. I mean, Japanese are well known for their expertise in the area of harbor and water, engineering, but then we also see a host of our own local contractors, local engineers who are also taking the front line. I mean, the consultant team here, the resident engineer leading this work is a Kenyan. So I think it's also for us a celebration of the maturity of the expertise and professionals in this country. So it is both really, I would say, it's a project for the future. And in fact, adding to that, is a similar the kind of work we're also doing at the Mombasa Gate Bridge. Again, it's another problem that has been in our books and planning. How do we safely? So we see that during the last 10 years, this kind of breakthroughs have come through, which actually I think we should celebrate and very much as Kenyans.
When this idea was conceptualized back in 1972, you didn't have, the population of Kenya was very small. It was about 10, 11 million people. Now you're talking about an economy that is 50 plus million people. What has been changed? Because I don't want to believe or imagine that the original design is what is being implemented now.
First of all, I mean, if you look at the kind of roads we were doing, in 1970s, to just be really a two-way, single carriage. But now, first of all, is that then this is a dual carriage. And beyond that is that we are not only looking at one layer, we are looking at several entry points. I've talked already about the other road in Kinango. So we are seeing that if you are coming from Kwale, you need not now come to this section. You can safely actually divert your traffic away from... So we are looking at this as a wider and integrated planning. We'd never had the special economic zones at that point. But now we are asking ourselves, how do we integrate our road development so that it spurs both the social and economic sustainability that we are looking for? So I think that's what we're doing differently, that it's not just a road, but it is also taking into account the current economic agenda and social transformation that government is intended to do. You know,
in every business, I mean, it's proper to say that the government is not in business, but there's what we call return on investment. And when the Dongokud bypass, that ends up here, at the port area was commissioned back in the year 2018, what would you say has been its major transformation in this whole infrastructure matrix?
Let's think of this, that why is the port there? The port is our entry point to Kenya, to Uganda, to Rwanda, to DRC and beyond. What does it mean is that we, at one point, it was taking up to 11 days for a vehicle to leave Mombasa to the border with Busia. We have seen this now go down to about 8 days. What have we done? Beyond this, we are also improving other areas. Of course, the port efficiency, which the President has been very passionate about. We are seeing the development of the one-stop border post. So this, removing the congestion in our road, some bit of efficiency at the point where we check the axle load controls. So we are seeing this as a part. And what is our goal is to make it possible, perhaps, that within 48 hours, within maximum of 72 hours, a vehicle has left Mombasa Port and is out in the Busia border. It means that the transporters can actually do more turnarounds. So in a month, if they used to do 3 trips, now they can do even as many as 4, as 5, as 6, depending on their own efficiency. So that is the transformation. It means that for a person who is exporting or importing goods, they have more certainty about when this good can get to them. We lower the cost, therefore, of transport. We lower the cost of production and therefore make our economy competitive and make Mombasa Port a more efficient and a preferred destination for people who are bringing goods or taking them out of the country.
Any project that does not benefit the local communities and the local people is not worth that project. So how is this project expected to help or spur the economic activity of this region?
Many ways. First of all, I've explained that already we have employment positions. That employment is more than 2/3 are people from the coastal region. So that's the first thing. And we are saying that, especially with the COVID season, people who otherwise would be feeling the sting of the COVID have been cushioned from that. That's an immediate benefit. Secondly, you think about the land value. Land that was hitherto not very attractive now become very prime. So the worth in terms of the asset that is held by the people, in their area served by the road, increases significantly. Thirdly, and combining this with ZESA, we are saying that for all the eternity, then this becomes also a huge employment area. And that's why the project is Mombasa Area Port. So it looks at the holistically, how does the road interact with the benefits that come to people. Environmentally, we have taken up about 15 hectares of mangrove trees. We have planted 70. So in every respect, we have left value behind. And not a value just for today, but value that goes to many years to come.
Let's talk about environment because as you can see, there is a lot of development that is taking place even inside our waters. What has been done to take care of the marine ecosystem?
It's our commitment as a country that the environmental sustainability is our third pillar of Vision 2030. For us in KENHA and across many other infrastructure projects, one of the things that we give a lot of prominence is the environmental and social impact of the project. We take a lot of time to see that we actually leave the environment better. I have said, first of all, this is mangrove. Mangrove is a sensitive ecosystem. And so, though, roads have to be done on land anyway, or at least using the land resources, and therefore we have taken a bit of 15 hectares of mangrove, but we have made sure that we have not only restored, but actually multiplied the mangrove forest here. So we have planted 70, and we are taking care of it to see that it matures. Secondly, is that as you see also, we would have done backfilling, but then that would have had challenges. So by doing piling, we have ensured that the water flow, the marine ecosystem, the marine life is sustained because there is free flow of water across the two sides unhindered. So that's our commitment.
As you can see, there are communities around this area who uses this sea as part of their daily life, for fishing and for other economic activities. Once this project is complete, would they be able to continue with their life?
We are not interfering. In fact, except for the mangrove forest that I've talked about, we are not interfering with the ecosystem in any other way. And in fact, even where we are, for example, you can see some bit of backfilling where we are doing work currently. Once we finish, we are excavating that to ensure that the flow across both sides. In fact, think of it. That's what you're doing in Mombasa Bridge just here. Mombasa Bridge, we had a bit of constraint. Why we are investing about 4.5 billion shillings there is to restore the free flow. And was not KENHA's work, but we appreciate that it is important that we sustain a healthy environment for future generation and even for ourselves. So this is a commitment that KENHA puts very, very, very high in its priority of things.
Project to be commissioned?
Project will be commissioned in March of 2024, and we are on schedule. As you can see, it's a lot of work. Doing all this, I think, and we are on schedule. We are 40% progress level. So in the next, 2-3 years, this project will be fully opened by March of 2024.
Let's now shift our focus from this to Makupa. What is the progress of that project?
Makupa was commissioned in December last year, but this is the president, with a commitment that we should be completed within 12 months. That's December of this year. I must say that we are slightly behind schedule because we are seeing almost about 80% time lapse compared to about 27% progress level. But again, we also see what's happening there. There's something we call mobilization. You see, for us to get the equipment that we require to drive the piles down, to cast them and everything else. So we have about 260 piles there, and most of that is already completed. So we expect that the next phase, we may not finish in December, but I think we are giving it by April of next year. We should be seeing that project coming to a completion. The contractor had indicated that it can finish by May, but we are in discussion with them to see whether this can happen much earlier by March or April latest. So simply to say, by mid of next year, we can confidently say that we'll be there, the road will be finished.
Are we likely to end up with cost overruns? Because the original cost was about 4.5 billion shillings. And so when you move the project forward, the timelines, when you move them forward, there's likely to be an implication on cost. What will happen to that?
We call that is an EPC project. An EPC means that we look at the design and construction as a package. The only time we would have a variation is if the delay was coming from the government side. But in this case, no. It is simply, so there's a contractor, because of his logistics, there was a bit of delay from his end, and therefore he takes the risk that comes with a time extension. In fact, if anything, it's us as who should be asking him to compensate for the time. But we understand what he has been through. We have seen fair effort, and so I think there is, we don't expect any cost overrun at all.
Let's talk about the Mombasa Gate. I mean, for decades, I mean, we've been talking about Mombasa Gate as a country. You are saying construction will start next year. Give us more update on that.
This project is still under development. I talked earlier that we have a project coming from Lunga Lunga all the way up to Malindi. But you see, we still have that gap section across the Likoni area. So the Mombasa Bridge comes to close that gap. It will therefore span over the Likoni waterway and give us a clearance of 70 meters so that vessels, the big vessels coming to dock at the port of Mombasa, can safely go under. You see, right now, with the pedestrian footbridge, which has been a great success, we have to keep on opening and closing. And of course, that certainly causes certain inconvenience that we can't have it 24 hours. But and secondly, the footbridge cannot carry vehicles across. So now we are looking at how do we connect safely and efficiently the vehicles from the south coast out to the north coast. We expect that this project will be started by end of next year, and I think now the designs and all the other preparatory work is going on. It's likely to be a tolled section, because also we are also trying to see how do we capture value so that we can maintain roads better, and by 2025, 2026, these projects should be finished.
Who is financing the construction of that project?
It is financed under the Japanese funding.
So will it be a PPP or this is a loan?
It's a PPP. It's a PPP. That's why we have the toll component in between it.
So it will be a pay-per-use, akin to the Nairobi Expressway?
Yes, 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 yes.
When you say 180 billion shillings, and the Japanese have said that what they're going to put up there will be the most beautiful bridge in the whole of Africa. Can you give us a hint as to what we should be expecting?
I think the work for design is still ongoing. I have not personally, seen the final designs. I think our engineers are still working on it, discussing with the consultants around the project. But certainly one thing we are agreed is a bridge that reflects the future we inspire into. I mean, we don't just do brick and steel, but we want to also do something that stands as a monument of our aspiration and for the future. I mean, it's a bridge that's going to be here for decades and for centuries. So we would like to see a connection between now and our future.
And there were proposals that a cable car, crossing over the channel was also supposed to be part of the package. Is this still under consideration?
It is, but that's being done by the Kenya ferry service, and it is somewhere just towards, you have Carnival, Tamarind, somewhere around there. So it's a bit, it's not under our watch, but yes, the best I know, we have had discussions, because then you also need to see how this links to our road. It's also a PPP project, and to the best of my knowledge, is underway. Yes, but I think that is better, perhaps responded to by the Kenya ferry service.
Let's now also focus on Lamu, the development of the road sector in that area. I know a number of roads have been completed, others are ongoing, and others are pending. Do you have an update yet?
Yes, as I mentioned, that in total, in the coastal belt, we have currently 13 projects. 9 of these are in Mombasa, 1 is in Kwale, and 3 are in Lamu. So we have finished, the Lamu port now, it is the first one berth is ready for use. So we have done what we call the Lamu Link Road. It's about 11 kilometers or so of a dual carriage road from the port to Lamu town. And then from Lamu, we have the road that comes from Lamu to Garsen. And again, that road, 130 kilometers, is complete 100%, and which means that we can evacuate cargo from Lamu safely to any part of this country and beyond. Currently, we have one of the major projects, which is the Lapset corridor, Lamu, Ijara to Garissa, and that is underway. We are about, say, around 18% completion level. We have a commitment that by mid of next year, June, August, we should again be seeing these ready. And beyond the main corridor from Lamu to Garissa, we also have what you're calling the spur roads. One road that leaves the corridor towards Hulugo, from Ijara to Hulugo, and then from Budhei, just slightly outside Lamu, about 10 kilometers or so, along the coast all the way to Kiunga. And that is the part of the road I see that it will ensure that we have connectivity from border of Somali to the border of Tanzania along the coastal area. So getting on very well, I'm happy. Yeah.
Do we enlighten Kenyans to take advantage of all these infrastructural projects to expand their business operations and, of course, to better their economies?
I think it's just to remind two things. I would say, first of all, what you're doing for us at KENHA. As we do all these roads everywhere, we are very keen on supporting infrastructure in conjunction with our government agencies. So you find that now the spur roads have become more or less part of our packaging of the work. And this is to say, we want to make it possible for people to get, if they're in the farms, in the small commercial centers along the corridor, how do we get goods and services quickly to the main corridor? That's one of the support. Secondly, we have done this, for example, doing from Kibwezi to Kitui. As we pass through the commercial centers, we are revitalizing them by providing some bit of roads work around these centers so that we are not just transiting, but we are also creating businesses within this, make a better business environment as we go along. However, road sector or road work are enablers. And the work of government is to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. We trust and we know that Kenyans are enterprising people. So beyond the direct work that we come to in the construction, we are thinking that, yes, the cost of land is more expensive in urban areas. Better connectivity, more efficient roads, give people an opportunity to actually acquire land away from a busy commercial center and go to areas where land is cheaper and therefore use the excess money to invest into productive activities. So I think it's to urge Kenyans that, look, what used to take 2 hours to connect, now is taking 40 minutes. Take advantage of that. Let's move out of the urban areas. Let's move out to other areas because we have all the services. We have water, we have roads, we have electricity, and labor is available. I mean, and the raw materials are not in towns. They are actually out in the more rural areas. So we have everything that we require to set business elsewhere other than in the major urban centers.
Engineer, thank you so very much indeed for your time to, of course, give us some more insight about some of the projects that you are undertaking here at the coast. Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Engineer Wangai is the chairperson of Kenya National Highways Authority, joining us on Inside Government to help us understand some of the projects that are currently undergoing at the coast and what will be their economic implication. You have heard it from him. O'Brien Kimani is my name. Thank you for watching Inside Government. Have yourself a good afternoon.